Okay, now we're going to bring it all together and take a look at the world factory and the world base. So in the world factory, this is we use to make the worlds. We can create a mock world, serial world, threaded world. Of course, we turned around and didn't do the mock world, but we do create the serial world out of here. Returns a world base and a threaded world. And we'll take a look here at the world base. So it's going to be kind of obvious, though, or going to reveal itself here that we have this, like, say, create a single linked world type of world. So maybe we've gone in here and we're going to create, say, this gets passed in, create a new serial world. So it does that. First step there, creates the world. Then on this one, we're going to add a factory, a very basic factory to it. We create a link. We create the sink, which is the destination where they end up. We wire all the network together, so we take our connector and our entry connector there, and we add our entry links to it. We add our connector to the world. We create an exit connector, and we add our exit link to that, and we wire that into the world, and we're done there then. So then we return that world. There's some other one. Here's a very simple bidirectional world, and here's another one creating a little more complex world with multiple factories and links and sinks there. So let's take a quick look then at the world base. World base has a collection of the locations of vehicles, and the world knows where all the vehicles are. And it has a collection of the connectors and the factories, the links and the sinks. And you'll note that the links and sinks are just both types of iLink. And remember from earlier that the factories extend that. We use a concurrent hash map, not important for the serial access of it, but we do have a threaded version of the world, and so then the concurrency comes into play then. So we have our starting world here that we feed in from like our factory, get things all set up in place there. A very important method right there is update. So our serial and threaded worlds will need to implement an update method. We use the injected renderer and the methods from inside that injected renderer. So render the graph, render the vehicles to display them. There's our ads, it gets our basic pieces we need to build our world. Is operating, that mean is basically a way of saying the world exists, and it helps with when the threading and tearing everything down and getting to the end of things there. So for instance, our serial world, our update, so we were extending world base. On our update, we call and move our vehicles and connectors, vehicles on links. We have vehicles that are pending link exit. We know that they're close to that. We update our factories, and then finally we remove the vehicles in the sinks. So it's all pretty straightforward code there. To just iterate through all these and process them. And so this is the serial world here. Now if we take a look at the threaded world, it gets a little more involved, a little more interesting there. There are some here, obviously it looked like I was doing some experimenting with a fixed thread pool size. These items are run in this order. It's like a note there, however, internally each area is threaded. We noticed like this one we had some real issues, so we just reverted back and used the serial update factories. This is single threaded as well. So we can look in here, we're using the executor service, new single thread executor there for removing the vehicles in the sink, and this is where some of that concurrency comes into play. Shutting down our pools. So here we have like our moving our vehicles pending link exit and cached thread pool there. So it just works through and does all those, executes that, and then we do a pull shutdown. So this one's really doing some work in here. Move the vehicles pending link exit task. So it helps take them and move them and get them moved on to the connectors. Okay, I'll move our vehicles and links. This is where we're going through and on all those vehicles updating their positions. Yep, there we go. So we see our current position there, and then our current progress, and then we're updating our progress. So this conversion here is miles per hour converted into feet per second, since our links are in feet. We're moving all those, and so it pretty much goes on from there. We got some leftovers. So, and then there's our serial update factory. When we create our cars and we add them, we also set a speed on there. And since we didn't want them all to be going exactly the same speed, because that would be kind of boring out, but everything would happen at exactly the same time, and there wouldn't be. So by introducing the random here, we introduce some wiggling into the system. And that's another little helper method in there. So that pretty much covers the factory, the base world, and the serial implementation and a threaded implementation of the distributed, or this is not quite the distributed yet, but these are like the predecessors to the distributed system.